We have a quarterback change in the NFL. Well, actually, we have multiple quarterback change, some because of injury, some because we have benchings, including the Cleveland Browns starting rookie Dillon Gabriel and other numerous injuries that impact the league, and a whole lot more on today's Peacock and Williamson Week 5 mailbag.
NFL analyst Brian Peacock and former NFL scout Matt Williamson bring you expert NFL analysis every day in less than 30 minutes. Get an inside look at the NFL on the field and in the front office with elite breakdowns to next-level analysis and in-depth information only for the real NFL fans. This is Peacock and Williamson, and it starts now.
Welcome to the Peacock and Williamson NFL Show. Brian Peacock alongside Matt Williamson. Thanks, everybody, for stopping by. Love our everydayers. We appreciate you. You are what makes this whole thing go. And if you're new to the podcast, welcome. We appreciate you as well. Consider hitting that subscribe button on YouTube or wherever you are listening to this podcast. And a lot of questions, a lot of news to get into on today's program as we head rapidly into week 5 of the season. Today's episode of Peacock and Williamson is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the FanDuel app. Okay, we got to start in Cleveland. We have a quarterback change, and it's something we expected probably to happen at some point this year, unless the Browns just won a whole bunch of games with Joe Flacco, and then you couldn't remove him from the lineup. But with two rookie quarterbacks, the third rounder and the fifth rounder, in Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, it is, in fact, Dillon Gabriel that has been announced as the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns in week 5, and we'll see how long that one lasts. Joe Flacco got a month, and now it's Dillon Gabriel's turn, Matt. Real quick notes here, and we've got a clip from Spencer German. He's the host of Locked On Browns to kind of break this down a little bit further for us, and we can react to it. But initially, Kevin Stefanski is saying that not only is Dillon Gabriel going to be the number one, Joe Flacco still important to the team in a leadership role. He's a team captain. He's going to remain the backup quarterback, and Shedeur Sanders is going to stay QB3 for now for the Cleveland Browns. And he talked about how Dillon Gabriel's kind of done everything right, and I think that's why they drafted Gabriel ahead of Shedeur Sanders. Is I think they liked the person as far as what they thought leadership was. I don't know if that means he's a better football player, but I think that's why it's Gabriel and not Shedeur Sanders. That's why they drafted Dillon Gabriel in the first place, and that's why Joe Flacco is staying as the backup quarterback. Leadership is great, but you're trying to win games, so talent is also important, Matt. What's your initial reaction to Dillon Gabriel being named the starter?
Yeah, I totally understand the move. I think the timing is fine, although it's overseas. Does that make it harder or easier or whatever? I mean, side note, it kind of bothers me when people are like, oh, you can't start him in this week because it's too hard. I mean, every week's hard. You know what I mean? Like,
if it's too hard, then guess what? He's not the guy.
Right. I mean, when's the easy game? You know what I mean? For a rookie third-round pick. I'm all in favor of doing it. I'm all in favor of Flacco being the 2. Without being super close to the team or being there, I can't really comment Gabriel versus Sanders. But I can say behind that line, I think Gabriel's style of play and getting it out quick leads to it makes the protection issues a little bit better. Yeah, I mean, Sanders takes a lot of hits and holds the ball long. I mean, I think just stylistically, Gabriel makes more sense. And I think these are answers you have to, they're questions you have to answer at some point this season is, do one or both of these rookies have a chance? So why not now? And Flacco's been really poor. I mean, he's not making the last couple of years, he's really been a roller coaster. I mean, he's been a Jameis Winston-like type of guy, super aggressive, but I haven't seen the big plays, and I haven't seen any kind of mobility or playmaking skills. He looks like he's pretty done to me, and I've kind of thought that more or less for the last 2 years, to be honest.
Speaking of Kevin Stefanski, who made this decision, said this was his decision. He's the head coach. It wasn't, something that came down from ownership or anything like that, which is to be expected. Shedeur Sanders, it was like a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, basically had a quote where he said, I'm ready. I feel like I'm ready to play. And, the media kind of made a big deal about it. And I really liked, I don't know how this is all going to work out. And, I've got big questions about what the Browns have done for a long time and many years and
Sure,
decades.
sure.
But I liked Stefanski's answer about that as far as it pertains to Shedeur Sanders saying he's ready. And he kind of squashed the whole thing very quickly. He said, great. I hope every single player on the roster.
I was thinking the same thing.
They're
Right.
ready to play. They better feel like they're ready to play.
Yeah, I mean, if you'd had any other answer, it would bother me. That doesn't sound cocky to me or conceited. And that's exactly how I would take it if I was the head coach, too. Like, I expect every one of you, we're paying you to play. We're practicing every day. I mean, what do you mean that shouldn't be odd to me at all? And I'm not holding that against Sanders whatsoever.
Right. No. And look, there's a very high probability that Sanders gets his chance to start at some point in his rookie season, because I don't know that Dillon Gabriel, not even Dillon Gabriel's fault. I don't know if it's necessarily Flacco's fault that, the Browns might not be winning a whole bunch of games in this stretch, and there's still a lot to play in this season. And I have a feeling we'll see Shedeur at some point.
I would think.
Let's get the report from Locked on Browns host Spencer German on the change at quarterback in Cleveland.
Well, we thought it was happening. It's officially happened. Dillon Gabriel will be starting for the Cleveland Browns in London this week. I can't say I'm totally surprised, as I talked about on the podcast. Like, I thought they'd wait another week because this week's just so weird. You're going to London. You're changing the schedule. Cam Robinson just got traded for you. You got to sort of get him up to speed. There's a lot kind of happening all at once to then put a rookie under center and make it his first start. But I can't say I'm surprised in overall that they're making the change, because the offense has been at rock bottom. And if Dillon Gabriel offers you some sign of hope that you can even be a little bit better than rock bottom, I understand why they're making the change. The mobility part of this is probably a big factor. Joe Flacco just cannot move. And I think adding Gabriel into the mix allows the Browns offense to do some of those things that Stefanski did back in the day with Baker Mayfield. Roll out to either side. Try to get some things going downfield in the passing game. The other issues still persist. The offensive line is still a mess. The guys catching passes are still dropping balls and being inconsistent. I don't know that those things can get fixed in the season. And it might still mean that the offense isn't very good overall, or is just still flat out bad, which I don't know if that bodes well for Dillon Gabriel as a whole. But I think you got to take a shot here and give it a chance and see if you can breathe some life into this offense, and that's what Kevin Stefanski's doing here. So certainly a lot more to react to, including why I think starting Dillon Gabriel could end up being a bigger indictment on Kevin Stefanski in terms of him developing quarterbacks in his future if he does not play well. We'll talk about all those things coming up on multiple episodes here this week of the Locked on Browns podcast.
A lot to unpack there from what German said. And something I didn't really think about was just the style of offense when you have an athletic quarterback versus a statue quarterback, and what you could potentially create as an offensive coordinator. And I saw a graph this week, and I didn't save it, but it was really telling. And it was really funny because it was like the two 40-year-old quarterbacks. It was a graph of, percentage of quarterbacks plays in the NFL that they create, with their legs outside the pocket, essentially.
Okay.
And it was like, some quarterbacks had a big part of their game was created with their legs and in second reaction plays and out of the pocket. And it was Joe Flacco and Aaron Rodgers that they just didn't have a bar. It was 0%. They don't make plays with their legs anymore.
Yeah.
And it was even funny watching Aaron Rodgers kind of hobble down the field after the long touchdown pass to DK Metcalf. Like, it wasn't young Aaron Rodgers flying down the football field. He was like kind of gingerly running down there. It was like, that's 80 yards, dude. I don't know if you're going to make it. Just run to the side and let DK come. I still think Aaron Rodgers has more athleticism to him than Joe Flacco. And Flacco is never a guy known for his legs. But that's a big change right there for the offense. Just with
1,000%. And Gabriel is light on his feet. He's a very anticipatory point guard-like player. I've compared him to Tua. Many have compared him to Tua. That's not a, outlandish, way of looking at it. The ball comes out quick. I don't love his weapons, but I just recorded a Locked On Dynasty where we kind of mentioned who benefits from this from a fantasy standpoint. And the best we could come up with was Fannin. I mean, I think they design a lot of stuff for him, and maybe they build something together,
I like that. Yeah, good start to his career. Get the ball out quick, on the move. You get those rollouts. You get the tight end coming around. You get the leak. And so, yeah, I could see that being part of it as well. The other part of it, which is rough, is like, man, basing Stefanski's career on can you develop these rookie quarterbacks with all the talent around him. That's a tough ask right now, but I get why you're asking the question.
Yeah, I didn't quite follow what exactly he meant by that. I mean, I guess obviously the Browns' history of developing quarterbacks in their entire organization is the worst in the league. I mean, are we going to blame Stefanski for that? I guess. I mean, while he's been there, he's as much to blame as anybody else. But I guess that's a valid point. But still, it's not like he's a first overall pick. I mean, if neither one of these guys looks great, I don't know that I would blame Stefanski, but he probably
would been a first overall pick, and he looked better elsewhere than he did with the Browns, in the past.
Oh, yeah.
Third round guy, you should think you could develop him into especially you drafted him because you thought he might be a ready early player. I think it was kind of the idea with Dillon Gabriel, played a lot of college football, leadership. And so, if he doesn't look like anything and you can't develop any kind of offense around him, then I get where he's going with that.
Yeah.
Line of thinking. But it's a tough ask again for rookies with all the talent that they're lacking right now on offense in Cleveland. But I'm interested. It's going to be a lot more fun to watch this Cleveland Browns game than the last Cleveland Browns game.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell that he was kind of excited to chat about it all week. And I mean, it's something to look forward to.
Absolutely. It's going to be less exciting to watch the Baltimore Ravens without Lamar Jackson. We have a time frame now on the hamstring injury for Lamar and a question about some of these big injuries from last week. Which one has the most impact on the 2025 NFL season next? Today's episode of Peacock and Williamson here on the Locked On Podcast Network is brought to you by Mazda. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details, and Mazda brings this same intention to how they craft every model and every vehicle. You can feel the Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from metallic accents to available Napa leather upholstery. You can make everyday drives feel like anything, from smooth handling to intuitive controls. And if you've never driven a Mazda, you got to go down and test drive a Mazda, because I was blown away when I purchased my Mazda CX-5 10 years ago. It was in another class as far as how it felt to sit in it, how it felt to drive it, how it performed versus other vehicles in its class. And with all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. And like the players on the field, Mazda sweats every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. Okay, we have some clarification now, and we knew yesterday that Lamar left the game and was injured, and the hamstring injury is going to keep him out a couple of weeks now for the Baltimore Ravens. And we heard from Kevin Ostreicher yesterday about how dire the situation was. It was he used a lot of adjectives to explain the feeling in Baltimore right now for a 1-3 team. And now the guy that you can't lose, you lost for 2 to 3 more weeks. You're potentially sitting here 1-5, 1-6 if you're the Baltimore Ravens.
I think this is getting to be DEFCON 2 or whatever. Yeah, I mean, now I don't think their playoff hopes are squashed. I don't think that they're done. I look around this division. I think the Browns, who we just talked about, and the Bengals are out of it, that their season is shot. Maybe the Ravens can, November and December, go on a massive run and get to 9-10 wins, win the division, or get in a wild card and be that team that nobody wants to face. Come that time. But boy, I don't see a lot of success with Cooper Rush. And Rush was decent with the Cowboys, but he looked really bad in relief with Lamar, and they clearly are going to have to change how they play offense a great deal. And they have bigger problems than just being, bad at quarterback now. Both offensive and defensive lines are real suspect. I think they're missing 4 starters on defense across the board. I know Houston's in a bad spot, but that's far from a gimme considering the Texans' defense. I don't know, man. I think this is going to be a rough stretch.
Might take the under in that game.
Yeah.
And they're going to try to lean on the run game. Is this the team they can do that against with the Houston Texans? So, it was a massive game for both these teams. Neither one wants to be 1-4, obviously, but you don't feel great about where, maybe a little extra, I know you played the Titans, but maybe a little extra giddy up in your step if you're the Houston Texans after a nice shutout win, and you might feel a little bit better about yourself. And, quite the opposite feeling, I'm sure, for Baltimore Ravens, learning they're going to be without their guy for at least, 2 weeks, 3 weeks potentially.
Yeah. And again, assuming he's 100%, I guess I'm counterintuitive here. I mean, will he be as mobile the day he comes back too? So what'd you say they'd be 1-4, the losers of this game, right?
Yes.
Because just pulling it up now, 1-4 teams make the playoffs at 6.9% and win their division at 5.2% over since 2000.
That's kind of always been the thing
with
with Lamar too, that you mentioned about, an ankle hurts him more than an ankle injury hurts Matthew Stafford or whatever.
Right. He has become great from the pocket, to his credit, but still, he's not the MVP with that.
Right. Yeah. Like it's the whole package that really keeps you up at night if you're a defensive coordinator playing against Lamar Jackson.
Mm-hmm. So you just wonder. I mean, I don't know. There's nothing. I don't get any good news out of Baltimore. It seems like week after week.
No, it's a rough season for them, and sometimes you just have those seasons. And the Randy had
the Niners last year, to be honest with you.
Basically, what the Niners went through last year, and are kind of going through again this year, by the way. And we got a question about a Niners related topic that we'll get to here in a second. But Randy asked the question about which one of these injuries, and clearly the Lamar Jackson injury has the biggest impact on this 2025 season across the NFL.
Of course. Yeah.
But Kolton Miller has a high ankle sprain, also a hairline fracture.
Ugh.
So the left tackle for the Raiders is going to be out for a long time. Malik Nabers is done for this year. Tyreek Hill, we know it was a dislocated left knee now. And he said through his agent, Drew Rosenhaus, that they're just hoping for 2026. And so that's where we are with those 3 really big injuries aside from Lamar Jackson's. Randy asked the question, which one of those 3 injuries, those are 3 bad football teams in the Raiders, the Giants, and the Dolphins right now. Not a lot of wins combined. Which one of those injuries has the biggest impact on this year?
It's a tough one. First off, I understand that Tyreek and his people are confident that they'll come back next year, but didn't he bring up retirement a year, 2 years ago? I mean, I wonder if this is it.
I know he's a goofball and wide receivers are built different, but his reaction, it was like,
so weird.
It was as if the stadium had just sung him happy birthday and someone delivered him a slice of cake on a paper plate, at a backyard picnic. He's got a smile ear to ear. He's getting carted off the field. And I imagine he's in pain.
And he was almost giggly. Like, did they give him too much morphine or something?
Yeah,
I don't know. That was such a weird response.
You can't be, even if, and I know there's a lot of commentary about, because the Dolphins stink and he's happy to be out of there. I mean, that would be.
I don't think that's what it was, but it did cross my mind watching it live.
I know a lot of players, when they get carted off the field, they it's like a slow clap and people, try to give you a little encouragement and you wave or maybe give a thumbs up or something to the crowd. So maybe that was his way of doing that. I don't know, but it was very strange for how happy he looked getting carted off a football field.
I've never seen anything like it.
No.
Biggest impact. I don't know if the Giants were going anywhere, but you did want Nabers to work with Dart.
Yes.
I mean, to me, that would have been really instrumental.
That's where I was going to go, because obviously Nabers is the big up-and-coming star of that group. And even if the Giants were going to go anywhere, you want the young quarterback to have that to throw to. And I think Dart passed every test in his first game, which looks up for the Giants.
Raiders' O-line's been so bad, though, even with Miller.
Well, this is a rough one. It's talking about a young first-round player. Like, you need your young quarterback to have or your young running back to have an opportunity to rip off runs like he finally did last week, because it's been really rough going for Ashton Genty to start his rookie season. It's not going to help to go from Kolton Miller to, it's looking like Stone Forsythe, who was basically the worst offensive lineman in the NFL last year for the season.
Really terrible.
When he reunites with Pete Carroll, that's a massive loss to plug in from Kolton Miller to that. They do have Charles Grant.
I say Grant's another option.
And apparently it's going to be Forsythe first, but Grant is a player who was a smaller school guy, high upside player. They drafted in the 3rd round, might not quite be ready early in his rookie season to jump in and play left tackle. But it almost sounds like the reports out of Las Vegas are like, Forsythe is going to play, but we expect Grant to get in there pretty soon. So that's, you kind of have the veteran and the young guy, and how bad does the veteran look? How ready is that young player to play? and jump in and play who they thought was going to be a little bit more of a project in Grant. But I have high hopes for Grant. I liked him pre-draft. So, maybe that turns out to be okay. I don't think the Dolphins were going anywhere either. So
No.
I don't know what the Tyreek injury is more about. Like, oh man, that we can't trade him next offseason now.
I was thinking that too. Like now you're kind of stuck with him, or I thought there was a really good chance he would move. I guess it's a little bit of a bump for Waller. We saw him get more involved, which I thought was kind of cool. And I've always kind of wanted to see Waddle as a 1, but this just screams people getting fired in Miami, as if we didn't think that already.
To be honest, it provides fantasy football clarity if you have Dolphins in your fantasy football league, because obviously Tyreek goes to IR, you drop him, and then you could probably play Waddle and now Waller with a little bit more confidence in your lineups. And Waller going over the top of, was it Sauce Gardner? Mossing Sauce Gardner in the
I think it was, yeah.
He still got that athleticism and ability to catch the football. So
they did throw to Johnny Smith a million times last year. It's bad times though.
Yeah, it's rough. It's a rough outlook for all three of those teams. You're excited about a young quarterback, though, probably in New York, even without Malik Nabers. But you hope he's still the dynamic player, and that's kind of the big thing with Tyreek, because he's late in his career. It's like, oof, could that be the end for him? You don't feel that way about Nabers.
No, I think it's a problem. I mean,
next, let's talk 49ers, Steelers, offensive lines. Not only the Raiders, many offensive lines having a rough go around the NFL, and more from our Week 5 P&W mailbag next. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and a very special offer right now from FanDuel for new customers. And with the NFL season here and rolling along into Week 5, we're already in October now, Matt. FanDuel has an offer that you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Whether it's weekly NFL lines, you can find lines all the way through Week 18 right now at FanDuel. Player props, there's NFL draft props already up, college football as well, same game parlays, live in-game betting, and a whole lot more. If you're just a casual fan, you love diving into the stats. FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. That is FanDuel.com. Your first bet wins $300 in bonus bets at FanDuel. This episode is also brought to you by Monarch Money. And so many folks out there can't name their financial accounts or even what they're worth. So whether it's 401ks, properties, investments, and when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. And that's why there is Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data, and get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. Link all your accounts, check your spending. It's so important. And especially when you are budgeting with a partner, you can both see budgets, goals, and spending activities all in one place to make that super simple. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use our code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNFL. So we have a question here in the on Twitter from Joe, who says, who finishes with a better record, the 49ers or the Steelers? And both these teams have had a little weird start to the season, but are looking good in the win-loss category. We're going to make our pick for the Thursday game in our six-pack on tomorrow's show. And by the way, you're not crazy if you think we switch things up. We're gonna do our six-pack on Thursdays and get our weekly NFL mailbag on Wednesdays, even though it's a little bit late to get the Thursday pick in. Whatever, we're going to do it on Thursday.
So be it.
Yeah. And the 49ers play this Thursday. It's a division game against the Los Angeles Rams. And we're sitting here recording this Wednesday. It's morning on the West Coast. It's already, you're already having lunch in your time zone, Matt, on a Wednesday. And we don't even know who the quarterback is going to be for the 49ers in a game that's happening tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that tells you where the 49ers are right now. And let me drop a little stat on you. The San Francisco 49ers are 57-28 in games where Nick Bosa has played. in his carear, and they are so, which is well above 500. It's
Right,
a very
right.
good record. They've won
Very
twice as many games that they've lost. When Nick Bosa does not play, since he came into the league in 2019, the 49ers are 6-13 now. This stat, it was 6-12 last week. Now they're 6-13. So they win twice as many games as they lose when he plays. They lose twice as many games as they win when he doesn't play, essentially. And he's gone the rest of the year, and they don't know who their quarterback is. I'm picking a lot of teams right now over the 49ers just because of what they're dealing with in the injury department. It is really rough, and I feel like the Steelers are kind of finding their footing right now.
It's a tough one, to be honest with you. I don't think this is an easy answer because I think the Niners' best day is better than the Steelers' best day. Now, I'd have to go back and double check it, but this is based off Warren Sharp's preseason stuff. But the Niners' schedule is way more favorable, and the Steelers got some of their easy stuff out of the way. But, two of the games the Steelers thought were hard were the Bengals, and that doesn't look as bad anymore. And, they still got the Browns twice. I'm going to pick the Niners, to lose this week. I think the Rams are really good, and the Steelers won't get a loss this week because they're on a bye. I still think I'm going to take the Niners, though.
You must not have confidence in the Steelers because you talked about the 49ers maybe being better at their peak, and I would agree, but they can't be at their peak because they don't have their best, most impactful player, which is Nick Bosa. And
they never will, right?
Yeah, but record-wise, they might get, Ayuk back eventually, and they might get a little bit more right and healthy in other places.
Purdy will be back, obviously.
And so that's why it's a little bit more difficult for me. And the way they played last week, it was just like, I think the straw kind of broke the camel's back with Bosa being out now and, your quarterback being hurt as well. So they have an opportunity after the bye. You get the mini or after the mini bye, after the Thursday night or week 6 to kind of get things right. And again, they have a fairly easy schedule, so they could be better, but they're not going to be their peak because they can't possibly be without Nick Bosa.
But the answer,
no pressure.
But the question is, who gets more wins?
Yes,
I don't know who's better. At the end, I've just seen a lot of late season Steeler collapses when the schedule gets really tough.
Yeah.
And, I'm sure the Steelers will be over 500. That's like the best bet on the planet.
And we saw the Niners that were broken down last year. They got 6 wins. So the Niners are much more, up and down. We know what the Steelers are going to get 9 or 10 wins.
Yeah. I guess I'll take the Steelers because I'll bet everything they have that they get at least 9. I'm not
really
sure.
The Niners may have to win 7 more games because they got that 3-0 start, which is pretty important there. So it's close, but I would probably pick the Steelers based on what I've seen most recently, and the Niners really have to figure some things out.
That Bosa stat kind of put me over the edge. And frankly, the same things are true with TJ Watt here.
Right.
They're like 1-10 in games he's missed.
And here's the thing. Here's a question from Michael that kind of ties into this as well. He says, does the NFL have an O-line problem? Simply, yes. He says there's barely enough capable starters when healthy, and team seasons and offenses are being severely hampered by the early season rash of injuries. And that's another reason where I'm a little bit more down on the 49ers, despite the way they started 0-3, is because Trent Williams is not he's not the Hall of Fame guy.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of reached that point, and he's having his worst season, even though he's on the field for the 49ers, and he could turn that around a little bit. But
do you expect him to retire after the year?
He's getting close, and they've kind of asked him that question. He's like, "Yeah, I'm not ready yet. I'll probably play for a few more years." So, I don't think it's 100%. But if he's not that guy anymore, will he want to keep playing? And it's certainly a possibility this could be his last year. But with him not, helping out the rest of the line, it's been pretty rough for the 49ers up front. And Christian McCaffrey, of his 49, Christian McCaffrey's barely over 3 yards per carry right now on the season, even though he's touched the ball more than any player in the NFL through 4 weeks. And by the way, speaking of, knock on wood injury, like
holding up,
the most likely guy to not finish the season is probably Christian McCaffrey with that usage. He had 49 rushing yards, 48 of them were after contact. So he got 1 entire yard before contact last week. To put it in perspective, Saquon Barkley last year had 1,000 rushing yards before contact on the season, right? That is bad. And the 49ers, we talked about the Raiders. They lost their left tackle, and it's going to be rough, probably replacing him. there is absolutely an O-line problem around the NFL.
I've said that since I've been in media, and I think it's as glaring now as ever. I think teams are crazy if you don't draft an offensive lineman every year. I mean, even if you're the best line in the league, throw a pick in the 6th, 7th round just to see. But speaking of the draft, I mean, I really thought, easier said than done, to be honest with you, because this past draft, I thought every O-lineman was overdrafted, based on talent and what they are. And you have to do that now. I mean, our two buddies, the two Moores, that Jalen and Dan that were on free agency, getting over $20 million a pop. They're very average players. I mean, Jalen's not even starting, right? That's his first name, right? Yeah.
Jalen Moore and Dan Moore.
Dan Moore. Yeah. I mean, these guys, I mean, the supply and demand just shows you what the league thinks, that they have to, outside the first round, you're taking 4th round guys in the 2nd and 3rd over and over and over, because you have to. It used to be you get a center and guard anytime you wanted. Now you can't get to anything anymore.
Yeah, even those are starting to get a little bit more difficult, and guys are drafting higher and higher every single year. A real quick one to finish it up here.
Super quick, BP, and I've said this a million times too. And the D linemen are getting freakier than ever.
Right.
I mean, just the freak component on the defensive side is so much different than the offensive guys.
It's so difficult.
Right.
It is so difficult. Since you've got another stadium to add to your list, Coach, who's frequently involved in our mailbags, says, what's the coolest football stadium you've been to, college or pro?
I've been to very few, surprisingly, but the college part does help things, because 3 years I was at Pitt and I went to every road game. I would definitely put Croke Park near the top. I mean, it was a football stadium for one day. That's, that's the only time anyone's ever played football on the pitch. But
and it's already number one.
I would go with Texas A&M. I mean, for a couple of reasons. I mean, it happened to be Larry Fitzgerald's breakout game. It was our 3rd game of the season. And that's when we really inserted Larry in the lineup. And he was unbelievable in that game and had almost 200 yards. But it was, we pulled off an upset. But I just thought the whole stadium was so cool, because it's really high. And the student section rocks. And it looks like the entire stadium's actually swaying because the people moving. And to the credit, those young folks in A&M were real gentlemen. They saluted us and clapped for us as we left. If you beat WVU, they moon you and throw feces at you.
Yeah.
You know? I mean,
The college atmosphere is really cool as far as football stadiums go, and NFL stadiums aren't really known for being awesome. I would put a lot of baseball stadiums I've been to over almost all the football stadiums, even the high-tech new stadiums. I've been to both the San Francisco stadiums. My heart, Candlestick Park was my first, whether it was Major League Baseball or NFL. Wasn't an amazing stadium, but you loved it if you were a local fan.
The Pirates are miserable, but PNC Park's great.
Yeah, it's a great park. Oakland Coliseum is the worst for baseball and football. It was terrible. I've been to San Diego, I've been to LA. They don't really stand out. So for me, it's really easy as Wisconsin college football. Got to see a rivalry game, Wisconsin against Minnesota, and in the snow, and the college atmosphere was so fun. And I haven't been to very many big time college football games, but that's got to be the number one. I don't even know the name of the stadium in Wisconsin, but it was I had to literally buy gloves on the way to the stadium because it was snowing. It was I am dressed exactly like I am right now for 65 degrees in California. I'm going to freeze my butt off. So I've still got my Badgers Wisconsin gloves that I walked from some stand on the side of the road, walking to the stadium in the snow, big time college football. That was pretty fun atmosphere.
Now, my son's in college age, and several people his age I know are attending Wisconsin and love it. I mean, especially this time of year before it gets crazy cold,
They do it right. They tailgate baseball games, which not many fan bases.
Really?
They the fans in Wisconsin do it right. And they imbibe a little bit, and they got some great snacks as well when it comes to sports. So
I bet the tailgate's awesome.
Probably.
Speaking of which, you'll love this. My son is going tomorrow, is hopping on a plane from Kentucky to go see Kentucky at Georgia with a good friend of his whose fraternity house is right next to the stadium. They tailgate right outside. So he's got it rough. Poor guy's going to have to go watch Kentucky get killed by Georgia, but he doesn't really care about that part.
Hope he's got a get out of jail free card too.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna wear Kentucky gear or any of that stuff. Okay. He's just going to see his buddy and go see the Bulldogs and SEC football and see campus, which I bet's gonna be awesome.
Fantastic. All right. Thanks for all the questions. Always get some great ones. Apologies for the ones we did not get to, but get them in for next week at BD Peacock, at Williamson NFL, or in the YouTube comments. And Matt and I back tomorrow. Let's make some picks and preview week 5. Talk to you then right here, Peacock and Williamson.